What's going on? It's the RapNerd, and I'm here today to talk about a new collab album from Hitboy and the Alchemist. Now, this is produced by both of them, and both of them are also rapping, for those wondering what the hell's going on. Yes, they are both known for being producers, but both of them are dead nice, and because of that, I love this album. From a content standpoint, I would say that this album kind of leans more into the luxury lifestyle rap. I think that's the coining of the name that they've gotten recently to this subgenre. You know, the stuff like Wiz, Dom Kennedy, Larry June, Currency. But this album for me is probably the best of that genre because, again, like I mentioned, Alchemist and Hitboy are dead nice. This album is honestly a cheat code because you have two of the best producers, one of the new age and one is an OG, coming together to just provide the vibes, man. Spectacular production all around, and the rhyming is A1 as well. And I can say that the vibe of the album is definitely more in Alchemist lane with the way the production is. It's a lot of vocal samples leading the pack with not many big kicks, 808s, and a lot of it is just 4-bar loops that are just easy to rap and talk your shit over, and I love it for that. And I think that might have to do with Alchemist's level as an MC. I think that he is a wordsmith, but I also feel that he knows that a certain type of beat works best for his vocals and maybe even for his pen because he's just so used to making these types of beats. So Hitboy leaned into that bag a lot, even though he does have some things that are clearly like what you would expect from Hitboy. There are a lot of non-kick soul samples on here. And one of the most interesting things about the album, you know, going into the production, is you can hear the difference in who made the beat. Hitboy's samples seem to be a lot more clean and clear, and there might be an extra kick in there when he does add kicks to the beat, kind of like Business Merger, opposed to something like Alchemist doing a record like Not Much, which is just a soul loop with no type of kick at all. And even his sampling is a lot more muddy and less clear, but I think he's just known to do that with his grimier style of sampling. And what also separates the two are the walks of life and places they are in the game. And you can hear that through their verses. And I feel like this album gave both of these producers the ability to have a voice to state their claim and just get some shit off their chest that we've never heard them say in an interview, but just in rap form. We all know as rappers, that is your other persona that allows you to say things that you would normally say in a person. So there's a lot that we get from. So you have Hitboy, who is a legend in the making, or you could say he's a legend because over the past decade, he's produced some of the biggest records that we know about and have heard about. So you have him coming from his standpoint of wanting to be respected as a legend, and he doesn't really feel like he is respected. I mean, there's a line when he says, "People knew my album dropped and they ain't even posted it." Or another one where he was like, "These rappers don't get a beat until I see a wire." I feel like he definitely has the feeling he's slighted in the game. It sounds like there's a huge chip on his shoulder and he's using music to talk his shit as such. Where you have Alchemist, who's been in the game since the 90s, who's kind of, you know, on some OG type shit, dropping gems here and there and being able to flex just how luxurious of a life he's been living, all through slick wordplay. And honestly, when it comes to rapping, I prefer Alchemist rhyming because of the complexity of which he rhymes at. Even though his flow is pretty much the same the entire album, he knows how to find these pockets that are really nice. It's like they're kind of offbeat, but not really. They always land in the right place, especially with the things that he's saying. He has a lot of statements in his verses, but mostly for me, I'm kind of astonished at the amount of compound rhyming he's doing. Shit is kind of crazy to me. I'm like, where the hell did you pick that up from? I steer the wheel with the Gucci glove, pull up and park while I'm waiting on the groupie love, living my life going through all kind of hell. I don't trust the soul cause even time will tell. So lyrically and conceptually, it's not super dense, but it's a lot of moonwalking from a technical standpoint from both of them, because you have Alchemist, who has that type of rapping, where Hitboy is more of the modern age style of rhyming when it comes to his flows, and I feel like he's a lot more versatile with what he can say in the different pockets that he can get into. And I think them coming together to make an album kind of gave them some leeway and was a smart move, because since neither one of them have had a solo record. Them being able to split the verses allowed to keep things interesting, because I don't know how either one of them would sound on their own. I think they're both great MCs, but I would be curious to see what they would do on a solo project of theirs, like a full body of work. But this is a great starter. So for me, there are absolutely no skips on this album. My favorite record would have to be Ricky, and the reason for that is because this song to me gives the most insight of each person, and I love the duality of what they're saying, like I said earlier. But this song breaks it down even more, because you have Hitboy on the hook, you know, saying, two-parent households, yeah, for us that's a fantasy. Watch Boys in Hood, I relate to the agony, like stealing from the store, coming from broke families. When Ricky get popped at the end, that scene's still sad to me. And his verse details about growing up in the hood and all the different things that he had to dodge, and just being a black man. And you know, the fact that he says that a two-parent family in his community is not a common thing, and he builds the whole verse up as to how it affected him today. But on the flip side, you have Alchemist, who doesn't shy away from his upbringing either, and he goes, two-parent household, yeah, that's all that I ever knew. Mother kept the house together, pops collected the revenue. Not ever what it seems, though every season a legend grew. My vision is skewed, imagine living in hell with a heaven's view. And I like that he's saying that, because it's this ideology of living in the suburbs. It seemed to be, you know, this great style of living, because there are a lot of privileges when it comes to that. And I imagine, out being a white dude, I know that there's a whole different level of privilege that he is aware of. He takes what was tough to him and puts it all out there. There's a few bars that I really like as far as the imagery and what he is saying. Ear to the wall, I'm hearing fights in the living room, bits and pieces of info I wasn't privy to. Weight on my shoulders made me backfold. Beneath my feet, my world crumbled and I fell inside a black hole. Finding out something isn't what you thought it is, the youth is tragic. The magician revealed his trick. Now you see through the magic. So many layers for me to peel back. I kept removing plastic, kept a smile on my face is what I do to mask it. Like, love those lines, dog. I relate to that, me growing up in the suburbs, when you start to realize that this beautiful picture of your life that you always thought it was falls apart. You're kind of left like, damn. I had my mom and my dad around, but I thought it was all good until at a certain age when they split. It was like a sudden boom, because it was like, yeah, you see things here and there, but then when it just blew up, it was very, very enlightening on how much of a facade I grew up in. But I love the separation between those two lifestyles and how they grew up. So overall, this is a great album. I love it. It's been in rotation since I listened to it on Friday, and it is definitely in my top 5 as of now. And I gotta mention, there's a record kind of the top of the album with Conway the Machine rapping over an Alchemist beat that is ridiculous. I don't know what Conway was on this one, but boy, oh boy, he smoked the shit off that record. God, I wasn't gonna bring up his bars, but I just got to, because there's some shit that he did on here where I thought was just lyrical magnificence. And if you follow me on this channel, you know I'm a big fan of multis and compound rhyming. That's my shit. And again, that's why I favorite Alchemist over Hitboy when it comes to rapping. Not to say Hitboy is slack at all, because he has some nice stuff, but for me personally, it just takes a different type of pen to be able to carry multis and build rhyme schemes out of that. So what Conway doing here is insane. Now rest in peace to Captain. My sketch with me be traveling the SUV in Aston with Stephanie and Jasmine. Connect me to the gas and you threaten me, I'm lashing. My specialty is smashing. You definitely a has-been. Bro, that's how many syllables? That's a quadruple multi 8 times within 4 bars. That is incredible to me. And then he switches the rhyme scheme, but I love this bar. He says, we ain't shooting at the car, we do walk-ups. Glock with a switch, it fan out, it got a starstruck. And heat through your frame, I see through the lames, they deceitful, but in the end, it's he who remains. Kanye level collision, if you speed through my lane. Conway level is risen to elite group of names. I had to give Conway his props on that one because that shit was hard to me. But anyway, overall album, I love it. No skips. Let me know in the comments what is your favorite record. Again, mine is Ricky, that Conway joint, and then Not So Much. Those are my three. And of course, if you like this kind of content, make sure to like, subscribe. And if you already are subscribed, thank you. And until next time, peace.
RapNerd Productions, no capping, that's word to mommy. Instead of banking on it, now rapping is just a hobby.